Hello guys, and welcome to today's video. And today we're going to be discussing some huge Modern Warfare 4 movement changes leaks. That's right, there has been some information in the last 24 hours regarding Modern Warfare 4, which is of course supposed to be and is leaked and rumored to be the next Call of Duty for Call of Duty 2026. So not next year or this year's current Call of Duty game, which is rumored to be Black Ops 6 2.0, but the year after that is supposed to be Modern Warfare 4. Not confirmed, but it's very, very likely that we will be getting Modern Warfare 4. We've obviously been Infinity Ward's game, etc. But some leaks have come out about the 2026 Call of Duty game in regards to movement, and I want to talk about that today. So I want to discuss not only what these changes are and what could be happening. Again, leaks and rumors, so it's to be taken with a grain of salt. It could be false information. It could also completely change. This could be true information, but then gets changed before release. We don't know. I want to discuss this information and also talk about what impact this could have and kind of discuss the movement as well, because it's going to be very interesting, kind of relate to this year's movement as well. But this is it. I'm going to post it on your screen right now. Here is the tweet. It's from the Ghost of Hope, a very well-known leaker. This is why I wouldn't take this information with a grain of salt. He is very well known for leaking things correctly. Things do get changed during development, so this is something that could change. Obviously, we are still a year and a bit away from Modern Warfare 4. Again, rumored Modern Warfare 4. But it says here, exclusive, Modern Warfare 4 2026 currently does not have Omni movement. So obviously in the early builds of this game, which will be available, like they will have early builds of this game, very like pre-alpha or something, when it comes to, you know, testing the game and having maps and stuff. The game will be somewhat close to being finished by now, but exclusive that there is currently no Omni movement, and it is unclear if things will evolve on this front as they get closer to next year. Worth remembering that it was leaked a while ago that MW4 had the same movement mechanics as this year's game, which is Black Ops 7, but seems like it's no longer true. So it's interesting to say that movement might be changing again in a big way. And I say in a big way because I feel like all of us have got used to this year's Omni movement. I kind of want to discuss this year's Omni movement as well, like a little bit about that, like whether or not it's good or bad. But yes, it looks like Modern Warfare 4 might not have Omni movement in the current builds of the game. Will this stay true and happen for, you know, the release of the game? We don't know. Is it likely? We don't know as well. But things like this do surprise me a little bit, because if there is no Omni movement now in the current build, that means they're currently not testing. I don't see how you develop the game and sort of be testing it, and you know how you want to get the game to work, how you want multiplayer to work, without having a key component such as the main movement for the game being there already. This makes me think that Omni movement won't be making its return in MW4, but again, this is something that could change, and MW4 could have Omni movement by the time the game gets to release. But let's talk about Omni movement, right? Let's talk about, is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? I don't know, right? I'm going to lean more towards bad, just because of the developer of MW4. Of course, MW4's main developer is going to be Infinity Ward. Obviously, it's going to have Treyarch helping, Sledgehammer helping. The same thing that we've had every year so far for a while now, where every COD developer or COD studio helps to create the game, but there is a main developer that kind of has the say and makes the decisions as to how the game goes. And MW4 is made by Infinity Ward. Now, Infinity Ward are notorious for probably being very anti-Call of Duty, shall we say it. I know that's harsh to say, because I think some of you might like Infinity Ward. Let me know down below whether you do or don't. But Infinity Ward are the developing team that have taken away red dots on the minimap, tried to get rid of the minimap, had the slowest movement I've ever seen in MW2, if you remember that 2022 version. I didn't enjoy that, and that's kind of where my worry is, right? If we're not going to have Omni movement, which is obviously a fast-paced, like quite slick movement, a bit of a skill gap to it, which is what I'd say to it. And I'm not saying I'm a big advocate for Omni movement, right? I'm not saying that I'm a die-hard Omni movement fan. I think it's just a movement that's okay, it's acceptable. Does it make Call of Duty? I don't know. You guys let me know down below. What do you think? Do you like Omni movement? Do you hate Omni movement? I don't see much complaints about it, but I don't see much like going for it either. I don't see people being like, wow, I play Call of Duty because of Omni movement. I just don't see any complaints. I don't see any like likes to either. It just feels like movement that everyone's gotten used to and has accepted is in this year's game, and would probably accept it being in future Call of Duty games and have no complaints to that. That's the way I feel about Omni movement. I don't like it. I don't dislike it. I'd accept it being in a game, right? I'd get used to it and just use the movement, right? But that's Call of Duty, right? Things change every single year. We change the movement, we change the, you know, God knows what. Everything changes every year to try and create some sort of innovation and keep Call of Duty fresh in that. I don't know why we go this, but this is what they do now. And it looks like MW4 might not have omni-movement, which, for me, it goes more in the bad direction, just because, like I said, it's Infinity Ward. Infinity Ward are notorious for doing things that are so anti-Call of Duty, things that kind of slow the game down, don't make Call of Duty what Call of Duty is, and I personally don't enjoy, you know. Maybe it's kind of a good thing in a way as well, because obviously if Call of Duty kept the same omni movement in every single Call of Duty game, you wouldn't really have that different, you know, sort of feeling to every game. Like, obviously, Treyarch games feel like Treyarch games, you know, the Black Ops series, etc., whereas Infinity Ward games with Modern Warfare kind of feel like Modern Warfare. Like, we do like to have that difference and you know, and have the difference between the games. But we've obviously seen this year's game, we've seen some Infinity Ward style stuff creep into this game, such as, for instance, on the screen you're seeing the Graw, etc. There are things that are creeping in from Infinity Ward games into Treyarch games, so maybe there's a chance Treyarch things could slip into Infinity Ward games. That was kind of the hope of the Omni movement here. Obviously, Omni movement is the first of its kind in Treyarch games, in Black Ops 6, and, you know, would be hopefully coming in MW4, but it doesn't look like it's going to be the case. And I'm just not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I think it is more of a bad thing with Infinity Ward, with their movement, because you don't know what they're going to do. You don't know if they're going to slow the game down again, make it so slow paced that nobody can move again. And I don't mind that too much, but when it's so slow to the point that you are genuinely unable to move and that you can't ADS and sprint down, aim down sights quickly, etc., which Infinity Ward is known for at the moment, that's my big worry. And without movement as well, it just makes the game so boring, so awful to play, very campy. That's what I found with MW2 2022, and I don't want that style of game again. Some of you might enjoy that game. Like, I did make a video going back and playing MW2 2022, and some of you do sit there and say to me that, like, you like the game, even though I hated the game, but you did enjoy the movement and that. And that's fair enough, right? We can all like different things. But for me, I just don't think the whole Call of Duty fanbase, I think as a majority, I don't think the Call of Duty fanbase is going to like it if Infinity Ward goes back to the slower paced, like, and I mean slow. Like, there's slow in a way, but then there's too slow, and I think Infinity Ward leans more towards the too slow side. But what do you guys think? Would you like Omni movement to be there in MW4, or would you like it to be removed and they go back to somewhat traditional Call of Duty style movement? What would you like to see be done with it? Would you like MW 2019 movement? I know that's got a lot of big favoritism. It's also got its criticism as well, with obviously the slide cancelling, etc. What do you guys think? What do you think the movement should be for MW4? What is the Call of Duty's movement that you think it should be? Obviously, some of you might sit there and say jetpacks. We're not going to get jetpacks, but you never know, right? Wild things have happened. But I just think we need a good balance, right? I think Omni movement was a good start towards there. I just don't think people hate Omni movement, so I don't understand why we wouldn't do this. And also, it doesn't help to keep Call of Duty consistent. Like, why is it every year we've got to have different movement? We've got to have a different way of, like, aiming down sight, a different way to, you know, shoot our weapons, etc. Something has to be added every year. I get it's to keep it fresh and rejuvenate the series and have some buzzwords, of course, when they do their trailers and leaks and, you know, they showcase stuff for the game and, like, here you go, here's Omni movement, you know, with the big, nice, you know, how to put it, granite-like voice that tells you that, hey, they've got Omni movement come to the game. They'll do something like that for MW4. But I don't know what style of movement I'd want. I just don't think Omni movement is a bad one. I just don't think it's also a franchise-leading sort of movement. I don't think it's something that makes people go, wow, I want to play Call of Duty because of Omni movement. But I don't want to see it go in Infinity Ward's game, just because I don't trust Infinity Ward to make a good movement system for MW4. And with them saying that Omni movement isn't in current builds, makes me worried that we're going to get a similar style game to MW2 2022. And I personally wouldn't want to see that, but I know some of you might want to see that. But you guys let me know down below, what are your thoughts and feelings about this leak and rumor? Do you think this has any big, like, you know, changes to, like, Call of Duty? Do you think this has a big change on the actual game itself? Because I think movement is huge, right? When it comes to making a Call of Duty, people go on about timelines and when it's set and what weapons are in the game. I think the biggest things in the game always have to be the time to kill, the movement, and the maps. I think those are the three core things to Call of Duty that make or break the year that you have for that game. Because it's the core thing, like, no matter what you do, like, every weapon you can you know, pick and choose what one you want, but the movement will never change. You have to use the same movement. The maps never change. You'll have to play the same maps, and the, you know, time to kill and stuff will never change either. You have to play with the same time to kill throughout the whole year. But you guys let me know down below, what do you think about this leak and rumor? Do you think this means anything? Do you think this is just a small thing, really, and, you know, it's just the start of leaks and rumors from MW4? Let me know down below what you think. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe, notification on. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Goodbye.